How often do you find yourself anxious over these small little chip shots around the green? You kind of duff a few, thin a few. Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to chip around the green from a variety of lies, not just from perfect lies like this. But what I'm also gonna do, I'm gonna bring in a special guest, an amateur golfer just like you, who's struggling with shots around the green, because I believe that him demonstrating the techniques I'm going to show you will probably be a little bit more relatable, okay? Now, before I get into the lesson, look, if you're new to the channel, so your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos just like this every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, as always, you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free download practice guide in the description box below. So before we get stuck into the difficult shots around the green, let's just understand what is going to create great strike for you every time. So every shot in golf is an arc, okay? Now, if you look at this here, look, with putting, right, we're not chipping, with putting, we want to get the ball rolling along the ground. To do that, we put the low point of the arc slightly look behind the golf ball. This means that when we strike a putt, we slightly strike it on the way up, okay? Now, with chipping, we take that and we move that low point just ahead of the golf ball here, right? What this means is we get a slightly more descending blow on the ball, and it simply creates a great strike. So let me show you what I mean. So if I'm putting here, okay, and all we're going to do here is with great chipping, we're just going to basically putt with loft, okay? So the difference between putting and chipping is very, very small. So this is a putting action here where all I'm doing is I'm setting myself up and I'm simply putting, and I strike the ball at the bottom of the arc and I slightly strike on the way up. Now all I'm going to do, look, with the chip is this very similar action, but instead now what I'm going to do, I've already got a little bit of shaft lean and I might move the ball slightly back in my stance, and all that does is it makes sure that when I do a putting action, I strike the ball before I slightly strike the ground. Does that make sense? So I get a perfect strike every single time. So your job and my job to help you today is to teach you how to create this consistent arc from all different shots around the green so you get a great strike every single time. So as promised, I thought I'd bring in an amateur golfer, my videographer, Leah. Now, Leah plays roughly once every...
I'm playing the last 2 months.
So once every month or two, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Kind of real amateur golfer. So if what we're doing now works with Leah, I'm sure it's going to help you too in some way. So Leah, get cracking. So right. I've got Leah just grabbing a putter at this stage, just to show you, because we're going to teach you how to putt with loft. So ultimately here, look, Leah's putting backwards and forwards and creating just a natural arc, okay? Now, if he putts this, the ball is going to be struck slightly on the way up, right? Now, you don't want that with your chip shots, okay?
Right, okay.
So if you were to just putt this now for a second,
yep.
Just make a putt, just anywhere onto the green.
Okay.
Perfect. So you've caught that ball on the way up and you get a lovely roll, right? Yep. What we want to do now is learn to chip like that.
Okay, cool.
But we're going to change the weapon and we're going to move just for now. We've got a lot of green to work. We're going to move to like an 8-iron, okay? Yep. Most people grab out their pitching wedge, so this is your first lesson. Now, all I want you to do is this. We've said the golf swing's an arc. Now, if Leah's catching the ball on the way up, we want to catch it on the way down. Get yourself set. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to move the ball position just a little bit more central in his stance, okay?
A bit more there-ish.
Yeah, that'll do, okay? And we're going to make sure that his body here, his shoulders are level and his body is slightly more ahead of the golf ball. By doing this, ultimately what it's going to create is a natural downward angle of attack. But you're still going to imagine here, Leah, that you're just simply putting. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you're going to putt now, but you've preset a natural downward angle attack simply by ball position and setup. Okay. Perfect. Yep. Okay. So where's that ball gone? Great strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, really good contact. But just a bit left.
Bit left, right? Now, what I didn't tell Leah is one aspect of chipping, you got to read the green. What do you notice about this green? It's a bit of a slut from right to left. So Leah, on this next one, aim a bit more out to the right hand side. Okay, yeah. But before you do, remember the slightly downward angle of attack. So we're going to preset where the body is. Yeah. Ball slightly further back, but you now just putt. Okay, yeah. You're putting with loft. Okay. Perfect. Nice. So probably overcooked it slightly.
Yeah, tiny bit, but
okay.
I take that.
Would you normally have used an 8-iron?
No.
Okay, right. So first of all, we're going to teach you now very simply how we make this action start to transfer to more difficult shots around the green. So learn to putt with loft. So shot number 2, now what we've done is you've missed the fairway and you've now nestled down in the rough to the side of the green. What club do you take and what kind of, do you play it any differently? Well, you don't play it much different. You do change the club. Now, You were using 8 iron in the last one. If you use that here,
Yep.
you've got too much grass to go over it. It would go like a rocket.
Right, okay.
So what I've got you here now, I've got you a 56 degree
Okay.
wedge. Borrow that.
Cheers.
And all I want you to do now is play this in exactly the same way. Right.
Putt with loft.
Putt with loft. Simple that. You've changed the club, right? Now, the ball position is centre of your stance, and you've got to be careful of this.
Yeah, I tend to, on a hill like this, you know, try and lean back to lift it up.
If you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be, that's almost like a putting stroke now where you're hitting up on the ball.
Right.
Remember the arc, we want to make sure that we preset the arc so that naturally you're going to strike the ball slightly first, then the ground a little bit, just a little bit afterwards, yeah?
Okay.
So then that allows you now just to do that beautiful putting stroke,
Yeah.
okay? Have a go.
Okay.
Pretty good, okay?
I mean, I'm out.
You're out, right?
Out.
So the strike was perfect.
Yeah,
okay?
it was, yeah.
So a lot of people ask me, well, how do you judge? I'm going to nestle it down again for you,
Yep.
okay? So let me pop in here for a moment.
Sure.
How do you judge distance control? Well, with putting, when we're here, we're swinging the putter backwards and forwards. Now, when you want to get a bit more length, okay?
Yep.
A good friend of mine, Graham Walker, gave me a great exercise here. It's to almost like imagine a fish's tail with your trail hand. Can you see how my hand here is almost just bending backwards just a little bit?
Okay.
So rather than this kind of arc created in a wooden fashion, what I do is I'm just allowing this arm to go here, and then I'm letting it go through. And this is helping me create the arc that we talked about, but in now a more rhythmical fashion and with a little bit more length and speed.
Okay.
Okay. So you get yourself set up here, ball's kind of central. We've set our low point just slightly ahead of the golf ball, and then ultimately again we're going to the fish's tail here. Notice how I'm naturally matching up my body. I'm not just doing it with my wrists, I'm letting my body kind of match that motion.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just a long putt. Okay,
cool. So fish's tail, sort of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
there.
exactly. Just get a length. Most times when people do this, they swing too short.
Okay.
Just get a length. Just that's it. Exactly.
Yeah, like that.
Good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, yeah, right.
Take that every day of the week.
Okay, perfect. So, and you'll notice here, it doesn't have to come out. When you're in the rough, a lot of people are trying to get loads and loads of height, and you don't necessarily need it, okay?
Right.
All you're doing, as long as you strike that ball first, with loft,
Yep.
the ball's gonna come up in the air, all right? Now let's move on to a little bit trickier. We're gonna get harder
Okay.
as we go on.
All right.
So shot number 3, and this is the one that a lot of people don't particularly like. Not a lot of green to work with. It's downhill to the flag. You know, my ball's nestled down a little bit here. So what I've done, I've gone to a 60-degree wedge, and I'm going to do the same thing. Ball is kind of middle, even maybe a slightly back in middle. And all I'm doing is I'm going to imagine that fish's tail moving backwards and forwards. And I'm going to be striking slightly down on the golf ball, the low point just a little bit afterwards. And I'm just collecting the golf ball on the way. It's almost getting in the way of this action. Go on.
Oh,
simple as that.
I'll take that.
Or is it, Leah? Right,
Yeah,
jump in.
let's
Okay,
have a
right. So 60 degrees.
That's 60. Okay, cool. Cool. If I can get half as good as that, I'd be happy.
So just stand back a little bit further, roughly in my footprints, just stand in my footprints.
Oh, yeah,
there.
yeah.
There you go. So roughly in about the same place. Okay, now we'll make this lie a bit tougher in a second, but this is just nestled down a little bit here.
Yep.
Now again, the problems often when people are playing these, they try and lift the ball up in the air. You know now that the club is going to naturally come down on the golf ball. You've preloaded that setup.
Yeah.
Don't let these shoulders go too much like this.
No.
Keep them there. No, that's it. So now from here, just let that fish's tail work like a putting stroke, okay? Backwards and forwards, and the ball's going to be collected on the way.
Okay.
Okay, pause. Now, so that's a blade, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Now, if we look back on camera there, what you'll notice is a very, very short swing,
right.
Okay? And when you've got a short swing, a lot of energy has to be forced into the back of the golf ball.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure.
So, when you're using loft, okay, the swing naturally has to be longer because the ball's coming out slower.
Okay.
So this is fine. You don't play a lot, right? So what I'm going to do here is just add a little bit more kind of length to the swing and let that fish's tail work a bit more. Okay, that's it. Now, don't lean backwards as you're doing it. Okay. Stay over the ball. That's it. Let that, look at this, relax.
Yeah.
Let that wrists come through a bit more.
Okay.
Do you follow? Just let that fish's tail work. That's it. There you go. Let that club, remember, all we're doing is creating an arc.
Yeah, sure.
We're creating an arc with a club. And we're creating a slightly longer one here, and then you don't have to force
Yeah, I don't
the
have
club.
to get really quick at the end.
It just happens, it'll just flow naturally.
Okay.
Much better.
Oh, yeah.
Much better strike. See the difference there?
Yeah, definitely.
That was a great strike,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yes, it's gone a bit too fast, but look, for somebody who plays this...
I'll take that any day.
Yeah, exactly.
Any day of the week.
Beautiful pop-up.
Cool.
All right. So, that is shot number 3. We're going to get even harder.
Right.
So, Lee, I've brought you to a very, very tricky shot now. So,
Yeah, looks it.
not a lot of green to work with. Big bank in front of us, and you've got to stop it fairly quickly.
Right.
Okay. Now, we're going to go for a 60-degree wedge, okay? And what we're going to do here is this. We're going to keep the ball position fairly central, okay? A lot of people might say push it forward because you want more height, but we're in the rough now. That ball's nestled down a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, I like to make ball first contact. I feel like guaranteeing a good strike is really useful. So I get myself set here, and here's the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that kind of putting with loft exercise, got the fish's tail working. Now, the problem is I'm going to naturally strike down on this. The ball flight, because it's I'm striking down, will go a little bit low. That bank potentially is at risk, okay? But let's just see what shot we create with just the same technique we've just used, backwards and forwards here. There's my fish's tail, nothing complicated, just like putting with loft. And just one little tip here. You see how I've got kind of like dirt on my club?
Yeah.
You see that?
Yep.
This is a great way to get more elevation.
Okay.
Because dirt reduces friction and gets the ball flying a bit higher.
Right.
So if you want to get height in these situations, make a few practice swings.
Make your club dirty.
Get some grass on the golf club, okay? And simply do the fish's tail and simply putt with loft. Look at this there.
Yeah,
now that, see, but you can see that elevation there.
Yeah.
Doesn't come off. We've reduced friction by leaving the dirt on, but see it's popped up nice and high.
Definitely.
And it's released. Now that is the type of shot I would like you all to play. If you are kind of like Leo's standard, you're going to guarantee strike. You don't want to leave it in front of your face, and the ball's chipped up beautifully, and you've got a chance now making your putt, right?
Definitely.
If you're slightly more advanced, then what we do now is we think, well, how do we get even more elevation, right? Now I'm going to put the ball, look, back in the hole where it came from, okay? So this makes it very tough. Now all I'm going to do now is I still want to make that ball first contact, but what I want to do is I need more height. So I'm going to add more loft to this club. So I'm going to open the face now, just a fraction, so it's aiming slightly to the right, excuse me, and then I'm going to open my body up this way, just a little bit here, okay? Now what it does, I'm basically creating the environment for a drop shot in tennis. Now, same principle though, the kind of putting me loft now simply happens slightly across the line of the golf ball, but I'm still striking the ball first, but almost in like a drop shot fashion.
Okay.
All right? I see how it popped up there beautifully.
Nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
have a go.
Okay.
Try the simple one.
So.
Use 60 degrees.
Oh, 60, yep.
Yeah.
That will help. 60 degrees. Okay. I'll take that.
Go on.
Oh,
You just done
close.
The pupil becomes the master.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, you see how simple this can be. Don't make chipping complicated. Look, it's just an arc that you're trying to create. There's many ways to achieve it. I think simply just getting that low point slightly ahead with a better setup, getting the fish's tail working, and so you're helping create the arc. And then just change your golf club depending on how much you want the ball to come out. If you want it releasing a lot,
yep.
You grab your 8 iron and your 7 irons. You want it high, use 60 degrees. You don't have to do anything fancy, right? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, maybe share it with your friends. And then look, if you want to have a video on pitching, so the shots from maybe 30 to 80 yards, click this video right here. Of course, I'll put a free download practice guide in the description box below. But if you're new to the channel, just join, whatever. Until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.